we finally have it. We have the GoPro Display Mod. So in this video, we're gonna do a sample vlog with it and show you and give you our opinions about what it's like to use this whole rig to vlog. This is a display mod. It does have this little cable, so obviously it's not waterproof, but you do have to plug the cable in to your Media Mod. So you do need the Media Mod to use this with the Hero 8. And then, yeah, when you're not using it, you can just fold it down, but you do have to make sure that this cord is not in the way, because that cord can possibly prevent you from retracting it fully. And it does make it a little bit thicker, but it's nice. Like it fits really well on the body. But yeah, when you want to use it, you just go boop, like that. And that's pretty cool.
Alright, so what we're gonna do now is vlog with this for a bit, just to get the feeling of it. This is literally the first time we're turning it on, so we don't even know much about it or how it helps, if it helps at all. Is it good? Is it well made? Does it have flaws? So we'll pick a topic and talk about that for a bit while we're walking down the street. And yes, we know this timing is quite weird because the GoPro 9 is out with its own screen. We get that, but we've been on this mission to make a really good vlogging rig for our videos to film ourselves, so this completes it.
So GoPro announced this whole vlogging rig with the Hero 8, the Media Mod, the Light Mod, and the Display Mod, saying that this was going to be the all-inclusive vlogging rig that we should be using for vlogging. And so this Display Mod took about a year to come, so now that we finally have it, that is the final piece. We're not using the light mod because we've got plenty of light today, but we are using the microphones in the Media Mod, and we're looking at the display for the first time, and it's so cool to be able to see ourselves.
And a little later we're going to plug in this microphone and see how it does any better with that, so that you see the reasoning. Do you put another mic and use up that extra cold shoe? How big do you want to make your rig, and so on? What do we vlog about? How about the fact that we can breathe again all of a sudden?
Yeah, so we do have a video on our other channel that talks about the air quality in Seattle over the past week. And so that air quality got so bad that we were rated like the worst in the world for a while there. And we were confined to our houses. We had actual lockdown for like a week, and it was terrible. It's been the worst part of 2020 for us so far.
Seriously, we coped with everything much more easily than this final bit where the air became poisonous and our house became 80+ degrees, and we can't open the windows to cool it down or breathe any fresh air. It was just awful.
And we couldn't go on our daily walks because our walks have been what has been saving us throughout the entire lockdown. So it's really interesting how, yeah, fresh air, the ability to walk outside has really kept us sane. So when we were finally deprived of those two things drove us over the edge and made us feel like we were going crazy.
Alright, so now we're going to plug in an extra mic and see the benefit of making your rig bigger.
And part of the challenge is with the Media Mod, you only have 2 cold shoe mounts. So it's really intended for one to be the Display Mod and the other to be the Light Mod. But if you're in a case like this where you don't need the Light Mod, then you can potentially add an external microphone. So this is the Joby Wavo Mobile, but if you use a different cord, you can actually plug that microphone into a regular camera such as the GoPro. So we're going to go ahead and attach this.
Alright, so we got it going on.
That's what it looks like now.
It's kind of crazy because of the windscreen, otherwise it's not as big, but now it looks giant.
And it has to go on the side because that Display Mod really needs to be up top. But yeah, it looks a little funky now.
Yeah. But hey, it's still much smaller than a mirrorless or DSLR rig. One thing that happened after we came out of the week of isolation in our house, we come out and all the fall color is out all of a sudden. So fall arrived as we were inside, and all of a sudden it's fall, so the summer is over. Yeah,
it's like a week passed and the season's changed. So this has just been a really weird year. But the nice thing about our lockdown is that we got hooked on this show called, ooh, hello buddy. We got hooked on this show called Alone, which is, first season is free on Amazon Prime, so you can go ahead and watch that show, and it's a really interesting show, and it really gives you some insights, because in a lot of ways those people were marooned and they were locked down of sorts on their little space on the island, and we were starting to feel the same way in our own house.
And it was also in the Pacific Northwest where we live, so it's pretty relatable for us. We know the dangers of being out in the wilderness here.
And what's also interesting is that the thing that really got to those people towards the end was the weather, because the weather is so soul-crushing and makes you feel horrible, and we can relate to that 100%.
And it's in fact why we travel, and we have a whole nother travel channel, which is what spawned this channel, in fact, because we wanted to film ourselves traveling really well. That's why we want this rig, because we're always on the move. We want to be able to be quick about filming.
Right. So yeah, hopefully this whole rig, it is a little weird with this external microphone, but you can tell us in the comments if you hear any difference in the audio now that we've switched to an external microphone.
Yeah, you can hear an accordion sometimes when you put the whole rig together. Check it out. That's
God, it's like Zelda. I'm at the point of Zelda where I have to wait for the blood red moon and there's like this parrot bird and he's telling you stuff and he's playing the accordion. It sounds exactly like that.
Yes, Susie's become a gamer now. She's played one game.
Just one game. That's pretty interesting.
So yes, you put up the rig and all of a sudden the accordion soundtrack shows up. It's pretty cool.
It's nice actually.
It reminds me of Europe.
At this point, we should probably get back to talk about the rig. So, what are your thoughts so far about this display?
Well, right when you unbox it and you take a look at it, you realize that it has some flaws, unfortunately. So, you know, let's talk about the positives first. So,
well, the first one is that it comes in this nice little case here, and it fits in here. So, when you're not using the display mod, you can put it back in. And I think the other thing is when you connect it, you have to do a firmware update on your GoPro, and you should actually start by updating the app on your phone first and then update your camera, but you can't use the display mod without doing that firmware update.
Yeah, and that didn't work for like over an hour and all that BS, but overall, you know, it's nice to be able to film yourself, even though it makes you watch at the screen and not at the lens, and you can finally film yourself more properly, and the rig is still pretty discreet in my opinion. It's not the worst rig out there, so that's a win. That's good, you know, finally GoPro gives you a chance. Well, I guess the max technically, but we don't care to shoot 360, so the max is overkill.
And now the Hero 9 has that display built into the camera, so that will be very interesting, and they're still promoting it in such a way that you can use the display on top if you still want to, plus have that display on the camera. So we'll do that test once we get the Hero 9 coming in next week.
Yeah, so yeah, the 9 kind of makes this whole thing obsolete, so the release timing is awful, but other than that, we're just giving it a fair spin for what it is. So what I don't like about it is if you look at the size of this display mod, it actually is quite a lot. It's almost the size of a GoPro, the surface area. However, when you look at the image on it, it is much smaller than that, so there's so much dead space. Not only the active screen space, but when you're in wide, the way we shoot, it even goes farther in, and it's only just a little strip in the center. It's something like 60% or 40% of the screen is dead space.
Yeah, it would have been more helpful to just utilize more of that screen space since it is so big, but at the same time I'm just happy to have a screen, have a display.
Yeah.
So for right now, not my biggest complaint.
The other thing that you see when you look at this, you put it together, you click it on top and you realize it's slanted quite a bit to the right, and that is just sloppy as hell. So I cannot know whether I'm shooting properly because the screen itself is slanted.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you can make some assumptions, and if you shoot in wide, you can crop later, but it is a little weird that it comes slightly slanted out of the box. I mean, you can, I guess,
it doesn't work.
Tilt it and prop it.
Yeah, it goes right back.
But yeah,
up.
It's very strange.
Yeah,
I'm not
it's
sure why they
slanted
did that.
because they didn't care to perfect it, just like anything else they do. They gave you the mod finally, took a year later, and then it comes and it's slanted, and half of it is dead space. Like,
yeah.
Seriously?
Alright, so one other negative is that if your battery dies or you have to change out your SD card, you gotta take the whole thing apart because this Media Mod is built in that way. And that can be a bit of a hassle because of all the moving parts.
And you run out of hand space because now there's so many components to your rig that you have to undo and put back together. You need like a table at that point.
I know.
Alright,
Yes.
so tell us, what else did you discover on it?
What else did I discover? So the other thing about this display mod is that it's not a touch screen. So when you touch it, like, you can't do anything. All you can do is monitor yourself, which I guess is fair. A lot of monitors just do that. They're purely monitors, but you can't adjust your settings. If you want to adjust any settings, you actually have to unplug the display and then flip the camera around and use the back screen. The other thing is when you plug in this display, your back screen no longer works. So you only get a front-facing screen. So if you ever want to flip it around and film from the back, you just have to pop it down. But you have that option, I guess, to do it that way. It looks like this display mod has its own power because we just changed the battery. We know the GoPro's at about 100%, but this display mod is still at 9%. So I'm not really sure. You have to charge the display mod too.
That is obvious. It has a USB-C port for that and another port for the HDMI connection. Yeah.
So if you don't plug it in through USB-C, then your display mod is just going to lose power, and you have to power that separately or add an extra cord. So that's kind of annoying.
Yeah, so there it introduces some issues and it's sloppily made, but now that I'm using it, I do like knowing that I fit in the frame because I'm a different height than Susie is, and she's the one holding the camera.
Yeah. So for vloggers, if you're a solo vlogger, it's probably less of a big deal because you can just put that GoPro on wide and you can safely assume that you're in the shot.
No, I'm not.
But when there are two of us, and look at when if you're not squatting, this is us just standing at our normal heights. So if we don't have that mod, we can't tell if we're both in the frame. But this way, I know that we're both in the frame. So this is great for two-person vlogging. It's almost essential if you're not the same heights. Yeah,
but the issue is that you don't know if you're holding it leveled right now because the screen is slanted.
Yeah, but that will be fixed in the Hero 9 because of horizon leveling. So.
But you don't need the display mode for the Hero 9.
They're trying to make a case where you can use the display mod and then you use that front-facing screen to show you your settings, which you already can do right now with the Hero 8.
But why do you care for the settings?
I don't think that the front-facing screen of the Hero 9 is a touch screen, so it's still kind of useless. But maybe it is. I actually don't know if that's true.
I don't think it is.
But they need to make either the display mod or that front-facing screen touch screen, because otherwise it's a little bit less helpful that way.
Right, so to sum it up, it's a good rig. I like this rig, it's one of the better rigs out there. You do now have, I think you correctly called it a monitor because it's definitely not a touchscreen.
Yep.
But as everything GoPro has been doing lately, it comes with serious flaws. Like the fact that they're not using half the screen is really annoying me. And the fact that they made us wait for this for a year and they shipped us a sloppy slanted product also really pisses me off.
Yeah, so there are some flaws, but for right now, I will just, this is one of the first screens that we have that's giving us a front-facing screen because our Fujis don't do that, our other mirrorless cameras don't do that, so right now I'm just relishing the fact that we do have a front-facing screen, so I like that for helping us compose and shoot better.
Yes, you can look at yourself now.
Alright, if you guys have any questions, let us know in the comments below. We'll be doing lots more testing with that Hero 9 because it is on its way. We should have it in our hands next week, so stay tuned for that.